That's right, the doors are locked and the pots are off at this Starbucks in Montclair for racial bias training, as well as 8,000 other locations in the U.S. This comes after the public outcry after 2 black men were arrested for simply sitting down and not ordering anything. And we're learning more news about that stabbing that happened in Montclair this morning. Police say the victim was rushed here where she had died upon arrival. That victim has been identified as Akira Towns of Orange. Police say the worker behind the wheel of a garbage truck was driving while impaired when he pretty much trashed the street in Brooklyn. It happened in Borough Park. The garbage truck plowed into 9 cars, ripped out a street sign and a tree, and then slammed into the front porch yesterday. Luckily, no one was injured. An eyewitness tells us the driver looked disoriented and tried to run, but cops were right on his tail. The big nor'easter that has been stealing news coverage for the past week came and left its mark right here in Montclair, New Jersey. Roads are blocked and poorly plowed, and I mean, this has to be a record number of trees that are knocked down. Coming up next on Eyewitness News, First Up 4, could Lyft and City Bike possibly join the same team? We'll explain coming up next. Learning new information on an American family found dead inside the resort room in Mexico. Authorities now say they've died from asphyxiation. The parents and 2 young children from Iowa were found inside a condo in Playa del Carmen. As hard enough as it is to find parking in New York City, you can expect it to get even harder. Why? Starting Monday, 300 of these parking spaces are going to be designated for car share services like Zip and Enterprise, all in effort to cut down on congestion in New York City. Meantime, a police search underway for the man accused of holding up a jewelry store in the latest string of robberies across Manhattan. Police say he got away with $13,000 worth of jewelry in yesterday's robbery in Soho. Coming up next on Eyewitness News this morning, the NYPD releasing shocking new details about crime in the Bronx. We have the details straight ahead. On a day where many people chose to participate in the New York City Half Marathon, plenty stayed behind to join me right here in Brooklyn at the Mac and Cheese Smackdown event. 15 vendors, 15 unique dishes, all for the title of Best Mac and Cheese Dish in New York. Yeah! Hit it! And a pizza man received an emergency stay to avoid deportation 1 week after he was turned over to immigration officials. Military police detained Pablo Villavicencio as he made a delivery to the Fort Hamilton Army base in Brooklyn. New information, police say they've arrested a man in connection to the shooting of a livery cab driver in the Bronx. Police believe Mario Powell robbed and then shot Jeffrey Camacho several times last Saturday in Williamsbridge. Powell is currently being held on federal charges for an unrelated crime. Camacho miraculously survived the shooting and is now recovering. On a typical school day, you can be certain that every single student will be walking around with one of these. But what may not be certain, what do the students have in these bags? This year alone, there have already been 23 school shootings, and understandably, students from our area, they're concerned.
I'll be scared. I'll be terrified.
I'll feel scared.
Scared and terrified. The emotions any student would feel if an active shooter had them cringing in a classroom closet, afraid for what's to come next. On February 14, 2018, a former student opened fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killing 17 of his former classmates and staff. That surreal fear not only felt from the students at the scene of the incident, but had students shaken up all around the country as well.
I would be so terrified. It is so devastating.
I wouldn't even want to go to school no more, to be honest. I'll distance myself.
Since the Columbine shooting in 1999, 187,000 students have been exposed to gun violence and school shootings. With that statistic just hovering over the student, it's hard for them to feel safe.
Students in our building don't feel like we're being watched over. We don't see these security guards. We only see them in the front of the building, and I feel like if we had more assemblies telling us that, we're here for you, or just to feel like we're together as a group, as a unit, as a school, that would be so much better.
The recent gun violence in schools has sparked protests on gun reform for months. Students playing a bigger role now more than ever.
Students should be marching for what they believe in.
On the Upper West Side, Chris Johnson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.